Hogwarts Legacy coming to old-gen consoles has been a point of concern for many people, and now their date has been pushed back once again. So I'm asking the question, should we be worried? Now, I'm going to walk through a variety of scenarios. I'm going to do it all right here at the beginning of the video, so you don't have to go looking for it. It's a longer video because it is a live stream, but I have some theories that you may be interested. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the like button so you don't miss these live shows. With the recent delay of Hogwarts Legacy on old-gen consoles, pushing the game out by another month, the question should be asked, is it time to be worried? Like, is it time to be concerned about what's going on with the game? And I actually think there is cause for concern at this point, but there's a variety of ways to look at this. I'm not going to be able to show you B-roll. I didn't set that scene properly. Now, if you haven't heard, the previous already staggered release date of April the 4th was something that people were sort of confused by and shocked by. It was not going to hit on the PS4 and the Xbox One at the exact same time as the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. Basically saying, hey, we need more time to get that version to run. You also might not be aware that it's not landing on the Switch until July 25th. So it's been significantly pushed back for the Nintendo Switch. Now, the Nintendo Switch has to do with some of my theory about why this is probably a good situation, but I'll get to that in a moment. Hogwarts officially announced on their Twitter, they said, quote, "We are overwhelmed with gratitude for the response of Hogwarts Legacy from fans around the globe. The team is working hard to deliver the best possible experience on all platforms, and we need more time to do this. Hogwarts Legacy will launch on PS4 and Xbox One on May 5th, 2023. So they're literally admitting, hey, we need more time. We need more time to get this set up. And I think it's understandable for people to say at this point, like, listen, are we looking at a situation where the game is going to run poorly? Are we looking at a situation where the game isn't going to give us what we want? Is it going to struggle? Is it going to be a situation where, you know, I don't even want to buy it? Is it going to be a cyberpunkian situation? That is a concern that many people have, and I think that is legitimate. This is obviously disappointing, given those the old systems were already having to wait. They were already surprised by the delay. Now, this actually caused some issues for people. Thankfully, they seem to rectify those issues. An example would be one of our own community members pre-ordered an old-gen collector's edition just so they could actually get the physical items of the old-gen stuff. Well, they didn't want the old-gen game. They wanted the physical collector's items, so they actually rectified it, and they got them a code for next-gen. They allowed them to upgrade early, because if not, they would just be sort of sitting here indefinitely waiting for their collector's edition to show up. Now, if you couple this with some of their recent answers about DLC and qualifications, the hope would be that this is a good sign for the people waiting. We actually covered their DLC responses, as well as the follow-up clarification that, in my mind, made it very clear they were confirming they have plans for DLC, but they can't talk about those plans until after all versions of the game are out. This means the delay might be viewed negatively by those of us that are on next-gen consoles. It means they can't start getting into future content plans or discussing them. They can't do that until they get these things out. Now, I would push back on anybody, you know, being upset about that. Like, if you're currently playing this on the PS5 or the Xbox Series S and S or PC, it's not going to hit the Nintendo Switch until July 25th anyway, so this delay should have zero effect on their content plans with respect to additional content. They're not going to be talking about those until after the summer. Even with the PS4 and the Xbox One delay, they would still have to wait to do that. Now, I got a lot of hate for my short. I had a short video, and I had previous coverage about this situation, and I am going to still say this. I'm going to be on record saying I am encouraging folks to cancel their last-gen pre-orders and wait for performance reviews. I think that is a legitimate way to look at this situation. Sadly, I don't have an old PS4 or an Xbox One to test this game out on those systems when it comes out. I do have a PS4 Pro that I could kind of get out and dust off and install the game. I am kind of tentatively planning to get the game on the Nintendo Switch just so I can show people how well it runs, so you can make a more educated purchase. So you don't need to jump the gun on this. You can wait. I think that is the appropriate way to handle this. That's the appropriate way to plan. At this point, you have nothing to gain by playing the game immediately. You've waited this long. A few more days could only help you understand what the performance of the game is. So let's walk through a few thoughts and my conclusion. First, the best case scenario, if you combine this delay with their comments about DLC, is it shows a huge commitment to quality on old gen. The initial delay itself could be viewed that way if you're purely being an optimist. You could say they're committed to quality, they're committed to optimization, there's no cause for concern. So if you're going to be a total optimist about this, I would say you could look at it that way. I'm not all that convinced to look at it that way, given what we've seen with games attempting to land on old gen when they have no business landing on old gen. I also think the commercial success of the game is playing a part right now. I think it's pretty easy to hear somebody in a higher up position say, look, the sales are going to come no matter what, okay? This game has been a massive success. We need to do everything we can to ensure the smoothest possible launch for the old gen versions. Honestly, one could make the argument that the delay is a stronger case for quality than not, if you think about it. They could just rush this out, hit the shelves, right? It was supposed to hit the shelves in a month. I'm recording this on March the 7th. Well, a month from now, they've maximized their sales. It's been a meteoric game across the globe. They could just weather the storm and patch the game as they go. The fact that they're not doing that is probably a good sign. Number two, another way of looking at this is obviously in a negative way. You could say, listen, they're panicking. They're in trouble. The game's having issues. The massive success of this title across all global markets puts an immense amount of pressure on the staggered release approach. The PS4 and the Nintendo Switch are especially problematic given how many of them are in circulation. If you think about it, they could be victims of their own success here. The stage is set. A huge amount of attention is on this title for more reasons than the concocted controversy and the completely unsuccessful boycott. This game has a lot of attention on it. It's been very, very successful. The game set sales records, and it will likely set more once the year is done. I only see Diablo 4 competing with this game for total commercial sales, especially once Hogwarts Legacy hits the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. The third thing I want to say is concerning the Nintendo Switch. One final view of this would be about the Nintendo Switch release for Hogwarts Legacy. One could argue that the later Switch release is not something they would do if the Xbox One and the PS4 releases were going to be really bad and cause some poor PR from them, okay? You could just maximize sales and push all versions out at the exact same time in, April when they originally planning it. The fact that they're pushing out the Switch later tells me that they're likely going to give you, I think, a good version of the game on these, a playable version on the Xbox One and the PS4. Because if they know, these are going to hit old gen and it's going to run abysmal and be really bad for us, they wouldn't have the Switch landing in July because that would murder your Switch sales. Anybody that sees the reviews or the performance reviews of Hogwarts Legacy on old gen, that'd be kind of the end of the road for them. They'd be like, I'm parting ways with this game. I have no desire to get it on the Nintendo Switch in light of how poorly it's running on the Xbox One and the PS4. So inadvertently, I think the Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch release date actually gives me confidence for the old gen consoles if you look at it in that way. My conclusion is this. I am still encouraging old gen and Nintendo Switch users to hold off. Let this game earn your purchase with solid performance. By now, you already know if this is a game you're going to enjoy. You've seen extensive gameplay, breakdowns, you know how long it is, you know the depth, the quality, the replayability. It's all there in plain sight. You're not in the dark at all about the game itself. The real question that remains is performance. The genuine last and final question for anyone getting Hogwarts Legacy on old gen consoles or the Nintendo Switch is, will it run well enough for me to purchase? And that's it. That's the show open. I'm still encouraging people to not get this, to not pre-order on old gen, because what's the difference at this point? You're having to wait another entire month now. You might as well wait for performance reviews. I don't think there's any harm in doing that, right? Because I've enjoyed this game significantly. Thank you guys so much for smashing the like button, and watching over here on the Tickety Talk. We're back over there streaming again. Thank you everybody for smashing the like button on YouTube. YouTube actually removed Hogwarts Legacy as a game, and I think that might have played a role in when Mike and I covered the game for our final review on Friday. We really felt like that video underperformed really, really sharply, and it might have something to do with, for whatever reason, YouTube has removed Hogwarts Legacy from YouTube, and I don't know why they would do that. I don't know if they were pressured by advertisers or something of that nature. If they were pressured by advertisers, then these videos are going to start to absolutely tank, because YouTube will be sequestering and not pushing them because advertisers don't want them to. I find that to be incredibly strange, because after all of the controversy and all of the yelling and the screaming, the game has done incredibly well for both the purple platform and for YouTube. So I'm not really sure why you would feel the need or the pressure to remove the game from YouTube. So I didn't want to run with that headline today, like, oh, they removed the game, because I don't really feel like discussing the controversy. I'm not seeing any other games getting removed. I do know that, you know, they're making some changes to the live stream funnels. They're making some changes to YouTube. It could be related to that. It could be related to the fact that they're trying to reorganize elements of the website. I don't know if that's why the Hogwarts Legacy, you know, game type was removed. I typically pick the game that I'm covering. That way we can kind of be in that funnel. You can't go anywhere on the platform right now and say that you would like to watch Hogwarts Legacy gameplay. Like, it's not possible. There's not a place where it's all organized. So I wanted to cover this because I have a short out there. I have a video out there telling people, hey man, this game's likely going to run rough on old gen. You know, you're going to want to potentially wait on your pre-order. You may even want to cancel your pre-orders and let this game earn your money. Let it get into the public's eye and let people actually see it. I wish I knew more about engines. Like, I wonder why they couldn't just lock the game down into normal PS4 quality, like say 30 FPS and a normal 1080, turn off ray tracing or whatever, make it a run at a PS4 style. It really starts to depend on what they started adding as the game was developed and as the game came to market. Are they using lighting systems or texture systems that, you know, would just don't run well on the older systems? You know, it's hard. It's genuinely hard to know what they've done, even with systems like the time of day and the sun moving. I mean, those are all things that can be difficult for the older systems to run well. Guys, let's get things started. You have until about the end of this week if you're really wanting to hit those big member goals. Let's hit our first member goal of the day. Every 25 members, I give 5. Who wants to order some coffee? Those are ways to support the channel. Make sure you're smashing the like button. That will help this video find more people. I am serious. I do think it would be good for more people to see this content and to make the decision ultimately to wait so that way that they don't get a cyberpunk version of Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy on their PlayStation 4 or on their Xbox One. How are you this morning? What's good, Iron Hand? I am good. Are you going to cover the Resident Evil remake? I'm pretty sure I'll be playing that. I'll probably play that on Friday night with my wife. It seems like members-only content did a little bit better yesterday. I think some of you guys probably got like multiple pings about the members only. So you're tripping. Hogwarts is fine. What indication do you have that Hogwarts is fine on the old gen consoles? We haven't seen any old gen game performance. We've not seen any old gen trailers or gameplay trailers. They literally delayed old gen into April the 4th. They just delayed it again into May 5th. That doesn't tell me that everything is fine. That kind of hand-waving is not helpful, I don't think. I think it's better to think critically about what might be going on. Now, I argued that the staggered Switch release date is likely good cause for confidence, because if they were just trying to take advantage of people and, launching a bad version on old gen, they would do it all at once. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Mike on the mic, renewing that member VIP. Welcome back in. If you guys want to support the stream, you can hit that $ at the bottom of the chat on YouTube. It's a little $. Click that. Gift a member. A $5 tip from Kenta Wilson. Hogwarts Legacy can be Game of the Year. I think it's going to get nominations, but I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year. I bet it wins art direction and original soundtrack, but I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year. Because the new gen isn't that far ahead, it's all good. The new gen isn't that far ahead. I don't think you understand how good Hogwarts Legacy actually looks and how large it actually is in comparison to a lot of the games on old gen. To act as if like old gen's not that far, new gen's not that far ahead of old gen is just pure ignorance. That's not true about the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. That's demonstrably false. Like, they've shown that with both performance concerns, upticks that they've done to old gen games. Just the GPUs and the CPUs alone are a nice jump up. Even the data controller in the PlayStation 5, the memory, the amount of memory you have, maybe not on the Series S, but you have a lot of memory on both the Series X and the PlayStation 5. Does anybody know how the game plays on the Series S? I don't know if there's a lot of... I've not looked at the performance there. On paper, sure, running a game side by side. If you run any game side by side on a PlayStation 5 and then go and run it on the PlayStation 4, the differences are enormous. You need to subscribe to channels like Digital Foundry or El Analista de Beats. There's magnificent comparisons that show you the difference. Ragnarok ran fine on PS5 and 4, not much difference. You're just ignorant. I'm not talking to you anymore. I can't talk to people like you. I can't. I literally have a video on the Tickety Talk with over 7 million views showing people how much better it looks on the PlayStation 5, and people like you just run with an you're probably an anti-Sony guy, would be my guess. You're just running negative narratives that aren't demonstrated by anybody with tech prowess in the industry. To act like the PS5 is not that much stronger than PS4, then fine. Go hug your PS4 and don't watch my streams, because folks like you aren't worth engaging with. Hogwarts Legacy looks better than Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4. Well, if you compare different game types and different art styles, it's hard to say which one looks better. To be like, oh, does Hogwarts Legacy look better than Ghost of Tsushima? That's not a comparison that's worth making, because you're talking about completely different games that focus on very, very different things. Like, in my mind, to say that, like, oh, this game looks better than that game, you've got to be in the same engine, you've got to be in the same art style, you've got to look at performance as well, like, how's the performance? Because Hogwarts Legacy, I don't think necessarily is a high-performing game. It runs fine, but the engine that they built Tsushima in was clearly more adaptable, because they were able to boost it up quite a bit on the PS5. They also made it for a single console, as Paul is saying, which is going to significantly change the development quality, because you're not building it for like a bunch of different systems. That's one of the issues that you should be concerned with Hogwarts Legacy. To be like, well, no, Hogwarts Legacy should be totally fine. The PlayStation 4 and the new Xboxes aren't that much stronger than old gen. That's literally an empty argument, because you can look at the differences in games right now. Also, you need to look at games that are purely next-gen only. You need to look at like a Demon's Souls remake or a Returnal or a Ratchet and Clank. Also, once Spider-Man 2 comes out, that's going to be the true test of like, okay, just how much more can they do when they completely leave behind old gen? I think a lot of people are going to look at the Hogwarts Legacy situation and ask that question. Well, why wouldn't you just leave behind old gen? I think it's because Hogwarts Legacy is a game that exists in a valley. It's not necessarily a next-gen game. It isn't. It certainly taps into things that next-gen games do. It's big, it's wide open, the lighting effects, the graphics, the visual fidelity on the foliage or the cave systems and the lighting, it all looks really, really good. If you go back and look at games that tried to do this sort of thing on the PlayStation 4, none of them look like this. They don't have the same level of lighting and texture, even the animations. Just look at the character animations, the combat, the enemies themselves, the lighting effects from all the different spells. That's not stuff that you could do on those old consoles. So it's in a valley where it certainly doesn't look like some mind-blowing next-gen game, but it's also doing a lot of things that the old-gen consoles aren't really built for. They're just not built for that. Like, if you go back, even the best games on those systems, there was only so much that they could do with the power of a PS4 or an Xbox One. If you look at the actual PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro situation, you didn't even get that much of a difference. You didn't get like a frame rate difference for the most part. You didn't get lighting or graphical differences at all, right? Lost the argument and changed the subject. I didn't lose the argument and change the subject. You didn't make an argument. You put out your opinion that the PlayStation 5 doesn't look that much better than the PlayStation 4. That's a demonstrably false position. All you have to do is look at technical analysts who know way more than you and know way more than me, and that simply isn't true. The graphical fidelity, the lighting, the texture detail, the resolution, the frame rate, the load times, at every step of the game, the PlayStation 5 is doing way more than the PS4. Like, arguing with somebody about something that's so pedestrian and stupid is a waste of time. Like, your ignorance isn't worth spending a talk show on, right? Like, when someone comes in and just says something dumb, I'm going to start being more dismissive. I'm not going to let an idiot pull the stream down into dum-dum land. It just isn't worth it. It just, like I said, it just feels like bait. It's like some Sony narrative. Like, oh, God of War Ragnarok didn't look that much better on the PS5. I would trust experts that actually do tech breakdowns, not somebody who's just saying something negative. Spartan of Dune, thank you so much for renewing your membership over here on YouTube to a Member Plus. I don't agree that they should leave the X-Gen behind. All previous gen support X-Gen consoles for years. I think this is the last year that they should be doing that, right? I think this is the last year they should be doing that. They should be saying, listen, enough is enough. These games were in development for a really, really long time. Here's your version, Hogwarts Legacy. They did cross-generational support for Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Sure, there's cross-generational support. Great. It's time to move on, right? It's time to step things up. It's time to say, listen, these things have been in circulation for long enough. The next-gen consoles launched in 2020. So as we go into 4 years, like once this year is over, okay, there'll be some cross-generationally supported games this year, and that's totally fine. But once this year is over, it's like, listen, man, we're gonna be 4 years out from the launch date of the new consoles. At some point, you have to just say, no, we can't be making our games for those systems anymore. Because you're going to run into situations like this where you're like, yeah, the old game, the old systems, they have to get the games way, way later. Or you're going to end up with cyberpunk situations where the old gen versions run like hot, steaming garbage. Like, you don't want that. And that's one of the concerns I've had with Hogwarts Legacy is you stagger the release date, you avoid the negative PR. Like, look at the amazing sales records that they've hit, like, across the globe. That's going to have an effect. If, like, week one, everybody's talking about how bad old gen is. Dark Taco is going to start us off with the first gifted member of the day. Thank you so much. There it is, guys. Now it's a nice odd number, 1 out of 25. That should bother people. They'll have to add to the total. This guy says, I never said that. It does look better. The PS4 just isn't that much worse. It's all good. Again, that's demonstrably false. What you're saying is it's a subjective opinion that can't be substantiated when you look at the data and when you look at the performance differences between the console. To say that you got me riled up is hilarious. Like, this is why people like you aren't worth engaging with. It's clear that you came in and you said something dumb, and when you can't substantiate it and you get pushed back on, you claim that you got me riled up. Like, that's just obvious. Like I said yesterday, I think that's a thing now I think that's a thing in live shows. Like, that's the new way to be a troll, is like, I'm going to go in and say something stupid. I know this is stupid. When the person reacts strongly to it or negatively, I can say I got them triggered, or I can say they're a fanboy or whatever. I'm just not doing it anymore. He's probably playing on a 10-year-old TV with $6 cables. Yeah, exactly. Like, to literally say that, like, you've got to be playing on some garbage setup, bro. Like, hook up a PlayStation 4 to an actual television worthy of a PlayStation 5, like an actual 4K television. Hook it up and then compare it. Like, It's not my fault you're running everything on an old CR television and you don't know the difference between resolution settings, probably. Like, that's on you, man. That's just the people who have never had to substantiate anything in their life. It's really an educational failing. Right, they're like, I just think this. Why? Can you demonstrate that with facts? No, you just think it? Cool. I don't know. I think grass is made of chocolate. I just do. I can't substantiate it with facts, but go out there in your yard and just start chomping away. Trust me. Still using channel 3 to connect to the cabinet. Oh my. Yeah, channel 3 or 4 on the old Coleco and the old Nintendos. I went from the 1S to the Series X. I can definitely tell the difference. Yeah, the difference between the Xbox One and the Series X, like, for those of you that are wondering why somebody was saying that. So, we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm saying you should be a little worried at this point, okay? You should be a little worried about the Hogwarts Legacy delay, because old-gen consoles might have a hard time running this game. And the guy comes in to the tickety talk, and he's like, well, it's totally fine. And I say, okay, why? Why do you think that? And he says, well, the next-gen consoles aren't that much better than old-gen. And he substantiates by saying that, you know, God of War Ragnarok doesn't look that much better on a PS5 versus a PS4. Because apparently he has Vaseline on his glasses and he plays on an old television in a dark room. So I push back and I'm like, that's demonstrably false, bro. Like, you can look at any of the technical breakdowns, like the literal graphical intensity, fidelity, performance, and the looks of a game on the PS5 versus PlayStation 4. That just isn't true. So, and just look at Cyberpunk. Look at Cyberpunk. You take a game that's doing more, open world, lots of moving parts, lots of pieces. I mean, look at Hogwarts, big open world, lots of stuff going on. And when you put it on one of those old systems, it might struggle. I think that's totally fair to say. I'm not saying it will. I actually gave out a handful of theories today. I said, listen, the Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch release actually leads me to think that this thing is probably going to perform just fine on old gen. Let me explain what I mean. If the developers knew that Hogwarts Legacy was going to run like dog water on the old gen systems, they would just get it all out of the way at once. They just rip the Band-Aid off, and then they would try to patch optimization. They would hit Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch all at the same time. The fact that they're going to push out these old gen systems and then make the Nintendo Switch wait until July 25th, they wouldn't do that if they were trying to get one over on you. Does that make sense? Like, let's just say it's the worst case scenario and Hogwarts Legacy PS4 and the Xbox One, they release in May and they're freaking terrible and it's a disaster and it's described as a cyberpunkian release. Well, that's going to really hurt their Nintendo Switch numbers, is it not? Wouldn't they stand to maximize their sales by pushing all three of those versions out at the exact same time? Now, it's time to get concerned. I'll admit this. I think it is time to get concerned and to actually throw the flag on the field and say, everybody stop. Do not buy this game. If they push PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One all the way to July and they have release parity with the Nintendo Switch, then I would be concerned. Then I would say, oh boy, yeah, they're just going to try and hit the market full press, get as many sales as they can, and then they'll patch it as they go. You're probably buying a very bad version of the game. But as long as the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One come out a month or two before the Nintendo Switch, I would say there's some level of confidence that you can have that they're not trying to get one over on you. Because if that were true, they would be murdering their Switch sales. Hogwarts for last gen got delayed. Yes, all the way to May 5th. It was already delayed to April the 4th, so you can't play it on old gen right now at all. Guys, we're getting almost 400 viewers on YouTube. Smash that like button, help this video out. YouTube removed the Hogwarts Legacy category, and I don't know why, and it's probably going to hurt any of our Hogwarts Legacy coverage. Akuta Papa with 18 months. Cheers, Lono. Hope everything's going well. I'm hoping for DLC for Hogwarts. They should drop the game for old consoles. I don't think it could run good. That's another question wrapped up in this discussion. No, this is not a Herman Miller chair. I got it from some other company. Mavix makes chairs like this. If you want to get a chair that is a high back mesh ergonomic chair, Mavix, M-A-V-I-X. I don't work with them, but that's somebody that makes this chair that would be probably a little bit more affordable than Herman Miller and great for your posture. And a good chair to invest in if you're sitting in a chair long times every day. But I didn't want to jump into this too early, but let's just do it. Something that's wrapped up in this discussion is they have all but confirmed that Hogwarts Legacy DLC is coming. They basically were like, we can't talk about it until we get these other versions out. Okay, well, that then begs the question. Are those old-gen systems going to get left behind with DLC? I happen to think they will. I think it's going to be like Horizon Forbidden West. It's going to be like Rise of Iron and Destiny. They're going to leave it behind and say, this is impossible. This just is impossible. They literally said, like, oh, yeah, we don't want to shortchange those other consoles. Yeah, they don't want to start talking about the DLC because it's going to be next-gen only. I believe that. The optimist that still miraculously exists inside me hopes this is all just because they want it to be as great as possible. Well, and I agree with that. I actually think you can totally look at this as an optimist and say they want this game to be as good as possible. That's why it got delayed. Because I use the Nintendo Switch to make my argument. It's like, well, the Nintendo, That's what I think. It's like, if you're going to wait that long for the Nintendo Switch, then surely the Xbox One and the PS4 versions are going to run reasonably well. They're not going to run terribly. What if the old gen system has the DLC built in? I just don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that that's the way that they're going to do this. I would imagine that the old gen systems are going to be able. This game's already enormous. It's already enormous. I can't see them doing that. My Switch is for Zelda and Mario only. Oh, we must have had a blip. I don't know. It wasn't on my end because you guys said my audio acted up and you're getting hitching. Our viewership just spiked. YouTube's having trouble again. It's not on my end. Nothing on my end is doing anything. Nothing on my computer is doing anything. My bit rate's not moving. I have a rock solid connection with AT&T. They did some maintenance. Everything's fine. Windows Update's not running. There's nothing going on. It's all YouTube. I really am sorry. That's getting really annoying that they just cannot get live streams serviced efficiently. We've been dealing with this for weeks. We just can't have, I don't think I've had a consistent stream for 3 weeks now. Every stream, something goes wrong on YouTube's end. I believe you. I've always wondered where chocolate milk came from. So if a cow eats Lono's grass. Yeah, the chocolate grass. I was like, why are you guys talking about that? This time next year, says Eugene, there should be about 60 million PS5s and 40 million new Xboxes. So pushing close to 100 million next-gen consoles. They'd be fine to not have the DLC on old gen at that point. Why would we be worried? Well, if you're planning on buying Hogwarts Legacy on the old gen consoles, I would be paying attention. Because they just delayed them again. So they just delayed them from April the 4th to May the 5th. Now, I am encouraging people, as someone who is a huge fan of the game, and I've played it quite a bit. My wife and I sit on the couch. We each play our own version of the game. I'm encouraging people to wait. If you've got this thing pre-ordered, I'd cancel your pre-order. You can wait a day or two more to wait for performance reviews. Because On the one hand, this could totally be a good thing. They're going to get the thing to run well. They're really focusing on optimization. On the other hand, they could be having lots of problems. They could be in a bit of a panic right now. They could be saying, oh my gosh, the game's too big. Oh my gosh, some of these systems just are not working well, and they're going to have some issues. And I can say that because it has some of its own performance issues already on PC and next gen. It doesn't run perfectly on those systems. It already has things in it that seemingly struggle a little bit. Frame drops, some hitches here and there. Nothing major. Absolutely nothing that I would take away points from the game in a review. But there is clearly some performance things in the game that I think need to be addressed. And that would be cause for concern on weaker systems. Think about this. God of War Ragnarok on the PS5 is rounded around 1860. It hits 1080-30 on last gen. Yeah, but according to that guy earlier, it looks a little bit better. Sure, practically double the resolution and FPS is just a little bit better. Hogwarts is 1080-60 on the PS5. It's going to be hard to scale that lower. That's more good information to sort of bolster what I'm talking about, Paul. The idea that, listen, it's already not running that impressively. It's already kind of what are y'all doing? 1080-60? Really? Wow. Especially on the PS5. The PS5 doesn't have really any titles running at that. The only console that consistently is running games at 1080 is the Series S, and we know why. It's the weakest system in the bunch. So the fact that it's running 1080-60 on the Series X and the PS5, that should be a cause for concern for old gen. Like Paul's saying, you can't scale that much lower than that. What are you going to run the game at 930 on old gen? Which maybe people with old gen consoles wouldn't be that picky. They'd be like, well, I mean, come on, man. I've got my Xbox One and my PS4, limping along here. I would expect games to not look that amazing. Can we get 7 more likes, guys? When the platform acts up, the only thing we can do is smash like and gift members. That's a great way to turn a stream around because YouTube will respond to that. Let's set our sights on 200 likes. Let's get some of these members going. You can gift one at a time. You don't have to give big batches. And you can gift on mobile now if you hit that $sign at the bottom. Don't let all these big gifters steal all the thunder. What's the performance specs on the Series S? Series S, it's 960. Yeah, I mean, they had to scale it down to 900 just to get 60 on the Series S. And when I watched a lot of those analyst videos, it wasn't even maintaining 60. It wasn't. I already got the platinum on the PS5. I just want more content. I have a feeling that more content is coming. I do. I have a feeling more content is coming. The way they answered the questions tells me that they have plans to add more Hogwarts Legacy DLC or a Hogwarts Legacy expansion. I think that's inevitable at this point. You can't look at how successful it's been, how big the game is, and just leave it sitting. Dark Taco says, I 100% think 900p 30 FPS is what they're striving to achieve. Ant says, we've come full circle. Old gen will be looking like Mario 64, and people will say old gen isn't holding it back. Amount of sales it's already generated and overall success, not to add to it, I agree. Oh, well, here's the thing. They stand to break all sales they stand to break all sales records this year. Or maybe not sales records. They stand to be at the top of all sales charts. It hasn't even hit, if it hits the PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Switch, I mean, there are so many of those consoles in circulation. This game stands to be very, very successful. I thought you just wanted a season pass for Hogwarts. I've thrown out ideas that they could implement. That was just one of the ideas I've thrown out. I don't say that, that's all I want. I would love to go to the school in Uganda, Wagadu. It's carved into the mountain, and they do spells without wands. It's like a more instinctive magic. The one character says, Natty. I think that'd be fun. An expansion where we go there, learn new spells, new enemy types, new missions. I think that might be a big ask. I could see us doing that maybe in a sequel, but I don't know if a sequel leaving Hogwarts would do that well. I think that the appeal and the allure and the nostalgia of Hogwarts as a school, of the common rooms and everything else. I think you'd lose that if, like, your sequel, you were suddenly off in some other school. But I do think they made mention of that school on purpose. That's literally contained in the tutorial. Anybody that you interact with in the tutorial, I think, has good information in the optional quest language, and she just started talking about that, and I was like, we might end up going there. I don't think they mentioned that just for the fun of it. Need some DLC, beat the game in a week. Great game, though. If you beat the game in a week, man, you were really, really playing a lot. That's a lot of content, because, I mean, it's a pretty exhaustive game. I mean, the people that claimed, like, oh, yeah, I beat it in 20 hours, I don't know how they did that. That was the same review that said it was really hard to kill trolls, and it's like, well, yeah, when you rush through the game and don't get all the other spells and learn how to do combos, I bet your lack of ancient magic probably also didn't help. Thank you, everybody, for smashing the like button. Almost 2,000 likes over here on the Tickety Talk and sharing the stream. Thank you for that. Everybody watching on YouTube, thank you as well. Closing in on 400 viewers. Appreciate you watching and hanging out, smashing like, leaving comments. Let me know what you think. Taylor Made hit 10 months of membership, and it's a member plus. Welcome back in, Taylor Made. Art direction, great. Resolution. Yeah. The resolution is fine, but it's not, yeah. Beat it in a week. Great game, though. I got 42 hours. 42 hours, man. Like I said, you went hard that first week. It took me 72 hours of total playtime for Platinum. How much playtime does everybody have right now in the game? My wife just hit 18 hours. That's the most she has ever played a video game without me literally being in the game with her. Like, we've played more than 18 hours of Diablo 3. We've played more than 18 hours of all the Borderlands games that we enjoyed. But last night I sat on the couch and I was reading a book and she was playing. She hit 18 hours. I was like, there's something special about this game if she's literally asking to play and she doesn't even need me playing. 65, 70. I'm seeing a 55, a 78, a 29. Irene's at a 68. One more hour, Irene, all right? I haven't done the fourth trial. I'm at 46 hours, says Texas Stone Cold. 58 from CJD Cook. That's a lot of hours. It sounds to me like everyone is well above 30 to 40 hours. Practically everybody that has chimed in is well above 30 to 40 hours. I've got one. Predators at 25. 9 hours, says Ant. Slow burn. Yeah. Most of you are not down in the 20s or below. 110 hours over here from it's Sato Ichi. She wants the Avada Kedavra spell. Yeah, sleep with one eye open. I gotta be careful. It's funny to hear her commentate on gaming things in Hogwarts, like certain things that have annoyed her. She doesn't like looking for the demiguises, but it's kind of adorable because she gets like super excited whenever she hears "mine now, demiguise." Like, her character will say that, and she gets really excited because she's trying to get all the demiguises. So I told her, I was like, okay, you need 13. I was like, you're close enough to the 13. I was like, go to all the little villages. There's usually one in every village. And so she started doing that instead of looking around the school for them. 25 hours, I stopped playing because I have to focus in school. Well, it's good that you're being responsible, Stephanie. There's plenty of people that won't do that. I just read a book about that, about, video game addictions and how, people in college especially struggle with it because once they're not at home, it's like, that's all they do. It's like, well, I can play as much as I want now, and it hurts their studies and their grades. 4 hours, it's hard for me to be engaged by a single-player game. I will admit that my wife and I would have played more regularly. It's like an every other night thing. Every couple of nights, we both hop on and play, and we're each on our own TV. And I'll be honest, we would have probably played every single night since the game came out if we could play co-op. I 100%, like, Hogwarts Legacy co-op gameplay would dramatically increase my playtime off-stream. It would. I read about people who have their priorities all wrong, trying to be smart and crap instead of good at a game. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My girlfriend has basically taken over from me, and I just do the combat while she explores. It's like you say, fun to watch and hear her talk about what's frustrating. Yeah, Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch somebody else play, which is interesting. I don't necessarily think we can play the game anymore on this channel. It's been too long. And today's turnout and Friday's turnout tells me all I need. I think the game's kind of running out of steam, which is fine. I don't think it's helping that for whatever reason YouTube removed the game. That hurts categories and funnels. Like, it's harder for people to find Hogwarts Legacy content if you literally remove the game from the dadgum platform, which is really frustrating. I hope it's a glitch and a bug and they didn't succumb to some sort of weird pressure. I haven't finished the game either. I'm like 20 hours in, and like Stephanie, I've got school. School is more important because it'll enhance my future. Oh, yeah, and the beautiful thing about Hogwarts is you can kind of always come back and pick it up. It's an easy game to pick up after a break. A lot of the times I take a break from a game and I come back and I really, really struggle to pick it back up. I picked it up the other night and I just started running side quests and exploring the world, and it was fairly easy to pick back up. Salute Reforge should not. Why interfere with the momentum of the truly next-gen experience? If other version stands up, they organically, that's a full year of exposure. Well, yeah, they get to trot out their marketing and their press. They get to trot it out almost in a staggered way. So instead of sort of being done with all their press and marketing, they're going to get to do press, I would imagine, in the month of April leading up to May. I think that's why they announced the delay in March. I don't think that's an accident that, like, on March the 6th, they're like, okay, the game's about a month away. We have to announce the delay. They're like, we need one more month. So they push it out too. That's likely because they were getting ready to pull the trigger on market spend and advertisements and commercials or whatnot, and they're like, no, we don't, no. So I would imagine beginning of April, you'll start seeing some marketing and some commercials for the Hogwarts Legacy PS4 and the Hogwarts Legacy Xbox One. You'll see that because they're going to want to get that train going. I would imagine they're going to focus a lot of their attention on marketing to the PlayStation 4 community because the PlayStation 4 is in much higher saturation in the market than the Xbox One. Is Hogwarts Legacy map as big as Elden Ring? Oh my gosh, no. Oh no. Elden Ring's map is stupid. It is just absolutely dumb in size. I would say Hogwarts Legacy is probably 1/3 the size of Elden Ring. Maybe 1/3, probably. Maybe 1/4. It's not near it. Elden Ring is silly in size and scope. That game is absolutely bonkers with how big it is. Are you going to play Wolong? Wolong doesn't interest me. I played the demo and I didn't like it. The combat felt too fast. It didn't feel enjoyable. I liked Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring and Sekiro. And when I played Wolong, I was like, it's kind of like when you get into a certain music type and you're like, yeah, I kind of like this music type. Maybe I suddenly get into like heavy metal and somebody puts on a band. They're like, you'll like this. This is heavy metal. And it's just maybe too fast or too intense for you. Even though I like Sekiro a lot, I think Sekiro is my favorite FromSoft game, followed by Elden Ring. I just don't, I don't know. There's something about Wolong that just irritated me. Like, I didn't like it. I couldn't tell if I was doing the right thing or the wrong thing. When I had success or I didn't have success, player feedback was difficult to deduce because it was so fast. I'm like, I don't know why it worked that time. And then other times, stuff I would try wouldn't work. You know what I mean? That's a perfect analogy, TBH. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like people are, oh, you'll like this. I'm like, it's a little too fast for my taste. A lot of people haven't been having fun with it, myself included. I was the exact same. I don't rate Wolong. It just felt like a copy and paste of Nioh. Yeah, it's getting great reviews and people like it. It's a perfect game for Game Pass because if you're torn on it, then, if you have Game Pass, you don't have to take the risk of... you don't have to take the risk of buying it. Just try it out. I'm sure I've seen a vid of someone running from bottom to the top of the map and they time it. You'd have to compare distance speeds, though, travel speeds, right? I don't necessarily think you can compare the Hogwarts Legacy map to Elden Ring just by running. I think even if you run from one side to the other, I just don't think Hogwarts comes even close. Like when I'm traveling from region to region in Hogwarts on the broom, I'm on one side of the map to the other fairly quickly. Try doing that in Elden Ring. Imagine just going from the very, very bottom corner all the way to the top, just flying. I can do that in Hogwarts relatively quickly. If you could fly at the exact same speed in Elden Ring, just to get the scope of the size, I don't think so. The other thing you have to consider is the underground territory in Elden Ring, the cave systems, the dungeons. They're insane. The density of Elden Ring is just bonkers. Hogwarts Legacy has some good density, right? It has some good density, but it's not even remotely close. I don't know how accurate this is, but this is apparently the map of Elden Ring and the map of Skyrim. Yeah, Elden Ring basically looks like 20 times. No, 30. Yeah, that looks about 30 times the size of Skyrim. That's if that's an accurate comparison that Murphdog just put into the Discord. How long is Hogwarts Legacy if you play all the side content? Oh my gosh. If you played all the side content in Hogwarts Legacy, I would think you're going to hit... I think you hit 100 hours. It looks like they're looking into the Hogwarts Legacy category. Thanks for letting us know. We're now looking into this. Yeah. Why can I set my videos to Hogwarts Legacy 2023? Yeah. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if whoever said, "Oh, we're looking into it," that's what they're supposed to say. Turn off unplayable space. Yeah, I mean, comparing it to Hogwarts, I don't think is that what they're doing in that second picture, Murph? Because yeah, I'd be curious about unplayable spaces. There's a lot of sections in Hogwarts I can't even go. There's mountaintops and stuff. It looks like a playlist faux pas. How is it a playlist faux pas? They literally removed a category. Even if I'm doing a show about Hogwarts Legacy and I create a Hogwarts Legacy playlist, they would have removed Dark Arts too if it was intentional. Yeah, but the Dark Arts isn't really a category. That feels like it's a mistake. I don't know why they put those packs in there. Who is going to put themselves in that category? Almost nobody. I don't know. I'm not saying that it was intentional, but I'm definitely saying I think it has zero relation to playlists, because if it has anything to do with playlists, then they must be launching a brand new feature that we haven't seen. We haven't even seen it. Did you do the PS5 mission? No, I have not. I have over 50 hours. I feel like there's still a lot of quests to go. A month is not a big delay, but man, oh man, releases in March and April are huge. But I feel like I've made a fair amount of money at this point, and anything from PS4 to Xbox One is a gift. Oh, you feel like they've made a lot of money, and anything extra is a gift. Well, sure, especially if you look at the Nintendo Switch. If you look at the Nintendo Switch, I feel like that audience and that console, if they can get Hogwarts to run well there, holy mackerel, the money that they're going to make, the amount of sales they're going to get, I don't think we've seen anything yet. The commercial success of this game only on PC and PlayStation 5 and the Xbox XS, we haven't seen anything yet. I think it's a huge delay for people who were originally expecting it on February the 10th. I think that's fair. I think that's fair, Chapter 8. It's a huge delay. It's like, hey, man, you're getting the game in February. Well, but you're not. Everybody gets their all those people that pre-ordered the collector's editions. Think about the order of announcements here. They announced collector's editions and they start taking pre-orders on the collector's editions. There were people. We had one of these people in my community that Talika, in our community here, Talika pre-ordered the PlayStation 4 old gen version, basically, of the collector's edition because they wanted the collector's edition, and they didn't care when it showed up. They could just upgrade with the code, right? They'd punch the code in, and then they'd be able to upgrade through the digital store. Well, so they get that money, and they get that pre-order, and then they come out after the fact, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that version, that old gen version, is coming out not in February. It's coming out April the 4th. And now they're doing it again, May the 5th. Now, everybody anticipated the Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch release. Everybody anticipated that being delayed because they said they weren't ready to announce the Nintendo Switch date. That was like part of one of the announcements. When they announced the Hogwarts Legacy release date, they said, oh yeah, the Nintendo Switch date's coming later. Toward the end of March. I'm not sure what you're saying. This game, Hogwarts Legacy, is now March 5th for people on old gen. The Nintendo Switch is July 25th. I tried to draw over the unplayable areas. Yeah, but the problem with drawing over the unplayable areas is you also have to draw and fill in. You need a 3-dimensional map to truly get a picture of how large the Elden Ring map is, right? May 5th. What did I say? Did I say April? May 5th. So many frickin' dates. May 5th. Not end of May. July 25th. I said March. Yeah. Too many dates, too many months would start with M. You know, there's too many of them. We can cut it down to one. Anyways, yeah. I have alerts for a few in-stock alert systems so I can get PS5 Collector's Edition. I have Zelda to purchase in May, and that's cutting it close to Zelda's release date. May 5th is Redfall. Oh, so it's landing on Redfall Day. What's to say they don't delay it again, though? I already said, if they delay Hogwarts Legacy again, and they delay it to, which, by the way, I've not done any of this right here. I've not done any of this. Like the building of the cottage and creating like your own little simulated world. I did enough. At this section of the game, I did enough for Deke to leave me alone. Like, I was not interested in this at all. But the fact that you can do that is just insane to me. Guys, this little one over here is looking so sad. Somebody give this guy some friends. Let's hit this member goal today. You guys wanted to bring it big this month to get the Just Dance streams. You're going to have to turn the heat up. You are not making it at the current rate and current juncture of momentum. Folks are sleeping. I can't do that. WTF, can't do what? Redfall's May 2nd. Oh, Redfall's May 2nd. Yeah. Okay, so May 2nd is what, a Tuesday? And is May 5th a Friday? Is that how that shakes out? March, April. Yeah, May 5th is a Friday. May 2nd is a Tuesday. There we go. Hex! My man Hex. He's like, I'll give that somebody a little partner, a dance partner over there. Two members on the day, and it goes to Team November. Thank you so much for doing that, Hex. It's the day after May the 4th. Yeah, they really missed with July. There's the 3K. Thank you for 3,000 likes over here, Course. I appreciate that. I bought my PS5 for Hogwarts Legacy and Diablo 4. Couldn't wait for Hogwarts Legacy on Switch and no Diablo 4. Oh, I hear you there. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch is a great device, but it's definitely not what you want to be on. It's just not what you want to be on right now, especially with the rumors of a Nintendo Switch 2 coming late this year. You know, what's to say they won't delay it again? I broke my train of thought. I was going to say that I actually, if they delay this game to the point that it suddenly has launch date parity with the Nintendo Switch, I'd be worried. What's good, Zubair? Because at that point, they literally could be shoving out a product that is not deserving of being launched. You know? They 100% could be like, yes, this game's not going to run all that well. Let's get it on Switch, Xbox One, and PS4 all at the same time. We'll patch it as best we can in the months that follow, but that'd be the best way to maximize their sales. Because if it launches on the PlayStation 4, and if it launches on the Xbox One and it's bad, then that'll hurt their Switch sales. So if those release dates all of a sudden end up lining up together, I think that'd be cause for concern. Luigi's Mansion's so good on co-op. Yeah, my kids loved that game on co-op. Yo, what's good, Smiley? Thanks for renewing your membership at 14 months and for doing a member VIP. Welcome back in. I got my PS5 and made the mistake of buying God of War and Ghost of Tsushima at the same time. I keep going back and forth. Oh, why'd you do that to yourself? Why did you do that to yourself? Ditch the Switch. Well, I don't want to ditch the Switch because I want to play Tears of the Kingdom, you know. I also really want to get a new Switch, right? I would rather play, I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom on a on a device that's not that dated and that weak. Watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer if you have not. Seth Rogen's a great producer. Oh, don't bring that up here. I don't ugh, golly. No. Don't agree. Oh my goodness. Tears of the Mountain, that's right. Tears of the Sun. Definitely lasts a heck of a lot longer than a day. Yeah. Yeah, those games are going to take you a while. Those games are going to take you a while. Did I say Tears of the... Oh, I just said it just now. While I had the PS5, I didn't like God of War, but I've been playing Blue Reflection, Second Light. I don't think I've ever seen that game. Hard to disagree. Yeah, it just seems like they're doing the same thing they've done with everything else. Let's just change all the characters. That'll go over really well. Oh, brother. And then that's their narrative armor. When it gets bad reviews, that'll be the narrative armor, right? If you're gonna write, if your story's gonna be bad and your movie's gonna get bad reviews, give yourself narrative armor. I really don't know how well the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One release can go if people are expecting anything near the detail and the quality that they're seeing in the YouTube videos and the images from the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. There's a new one. It's a brand new trailer. It's in the same animated style as Into the Spider-Verse, Eugene. It just hit yesterday. I watched for about 30 seconds and I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, Chapter 8. I wanted to talk about that. Right now, there is so much Hogwarts Legacy gameplay available. You can watch their trailers. You can watch me play. Anybody play, right? And I do think that's a dilemma and a danger, is so many people are going to start to think, oh, that's what the game's going to look like. Now, I know it would be fair pushback to be like, listen, man, you're running on old gen system. You can't expect it to look like that. You can't expect it to look like that. What do you mean, here we go again? They're swapping. They're doing the swap thing. They're just swapping characters around. Am I dumb, or is Donatello suddenly a chick? Like, or am I stupid? Did I completely misunderstand the trailer? I don't know. It didn't hit me at all. It felt like we're gonna do this thing where we're gonna swap people around and everybody's gonna get angry. They're children? That's not the vibe that I got. The other guys didn't sound like that. I don't know. Donnie is male still. The voice actor just sounds very effeminate. Okay. All right. I didn't think it was very funny. It just didn't hit me. That's all I'll say. I watched the trailer and I thought for sure, I was like, did they make Donatello a chick? Like, why would they do that? You're just going to make everybody angry. Donnie is the youngest. Okay. Well, at the very least, they didn't do that, because that's what I thought they did. I was like, are you serious? You made my man Donnie a girl? Like, come on. Why do we have to do this with every story now, you know? But just make all the characters girls. That's gone over really well, hasn't it? Stupid. I'm not interested in the new ones. Making preview doesn't due to him being a geek. Yeah, I don't. I hope people enjoy it. I hope people enjoy it, because I didn't. I watched the trailer and thought, I'm skipping this. And I don't think I'd let my kids watch it either, because it felt like it was in that weird valley of, like, it's kind of not for kids, but also kind of not for adults. Anyways, that is not what today's show is about. Not enough female turtle representation. That's right. That's right, Zuby. That's right. Is Hogwarts Legacy more demanding than games like Forbidden West and Elden Ring? They did run okay on the X-gen consoles. Okay, that's actually like a really fair question, SDO. That's a fair question, and maybe that's what that guy was trying to drive at earlier, but he just made it sound like he was some anti-Sony guy acting like, well, God of War Ragnarok didn't look that much better on the PS5, you know, Hogwarts will be fine. Here is what I would say in response to your inquiry. If we look at the performance of God of War Ragnarok on a PS5, and we look at the performance of Forbidden West had a couple of patches, and it's now totally fine. There was some pop-in and some frame issues, but as far as I can tell, they fixed those issues. So both of those games run incredibly well, okay? They run incredibly well. And then they downscale to PS4, but that's actually not how it happened. Both Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok are being built upon systems, animation sets, assets, worlds, textures, etc. All that stuff was on the PlayStation 4 first. So there's already architecture in place for Forbidden West and Ragnarok to run well on a PlayStation 4. That's not quite the same as what's going on with Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know what engine Hogwarts Legacy is running on, but Hogwarts Legacy is not running that well on the next-gen consoles. It's running at like 1080 just to give you 60, and I don't even get consistent 60. I still have issues with frame drops and frame stutters, and sometimes it gets a little skippy. So, yeah, and Paul's giving you the hard numbers there. Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok both run at like 1860 on PS5. Hogwarts is going as low as 1080 just to get 60. So what that tells me is this game is not as optimized. It's not as well optimized. So that's the real question then, isn't it? How far can you go below 1080 60 before it's like, oh my gosh, this looks and runs terribly? And even at 1080 60, Hogwarts Legacy is not running that consistent. Performance is terrible on PC? No, it's not. No, it's not. Everybody ran with that narrative. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's running perfect on PC. I'm not going to run with that narrative, but it's not running terrible. Everybody ran with that narrative week one, like, yeah, game runs like hot garbage on the PC, and everybody's giving it a pass because they're Harry Potter fans. Listen, when games run like garbage on PC, they don't get a 93% on Steam. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Plenty of games have launched and have run really, really poorly on PC. They don't get 93% on Steam. If you launch a game on Steam and it runs bad, you get taken to the cleaners in the reviews. People aren't like, well, I like Harry Potter, let me give it a 10. No, it gets shredded. There have been plenty of games recently that have run poorly, and they end up in like the 50s and the 60%. Like, it is extremely hard to get a good score on PC if it runs poorly, because the Steam reviews, they always tell the real story. Like, from moment one, the narrative around Hogwarts Legacy has been just riddled with bad actors and liars. There was somebody that summarized IGN's review with, there's only 3 enemy types, the game barely runs, 9 out of 10. A tweet literally went viral, retweeting the IGN review and falsely summarized it. Do you want to know why they did that? Because all the people that were dunking on and hating on the game didn't take the time to even read the review. The IGN review didn't say that. It didn't say there were only 3 enemy types. There's not. There's well over 60. It didn't say that the game barely ran. They talked about some performance issues. The review didn't say any of that. So from moment one, you got to be really, really careful about accepting completely fabricated narratives about this game. It apparently only has 3 enemy types and it barely runs, according to all of the freaking, angry people on Twitter. But if you actually look at the reviews, if you actually look at the performance videos, if you actually look at the performance breakdowns, if you look at the Steam reviews, no, the game has some performance issues. That's not even a denied thing. No one denies that. I don't deny it. I highlighted it myself in some of my content. Some of the performance issues are part of my argumentation today. It's like, the game doesn't even run that great. I mean, it runs fine. It's passable. It's a passable game on the next gen systems, but it's not at a level where I'm like super confident, like, oh yeah, this thing's gonna run amazing on the old gen consoles. If anything, its current performance is signs that it's really, really gonna struggle on the old gen stuff. If there wasn't Denuvo, it'd probably run 4K 60 native on PC without DLSS across the board. Yeah, I would say Denuvo is part of the major problems, with the game's performance on PC. Could we get 50 more likes? If you guys have been enjoying the talk show today, I am a Safe for Work broadcaster. Make sure you're hitting subscribe so you don't miss my shows. Hitting subscribe is totally free. It lets you talk in my chat. If you want to support me directly, hit the $ or the join button, become a member. You can now gift members on mobile. Every 25 members, I gift 5 back to the community as a thank you. And it does seem like members-only content is alerting you more regularly. A lot more people got alerted for yesterday's members-only stream. I'll be doing another members-only stream today. It'll be New Trailer Tuesday. We'll be looking at all the new trailers that have come out the last couple of weeks. This is not my kind of game genre, says Chase, but this game is very good and entertaining. Combat is fun and challenging. Yeah, the more I get involved in the combat, the more I hope that if they add content to the game, that's kind of the route that they take, right? I hope there's more combat, I really, really do. I hope there's more combat. Because I think the combat's one of the things in the game that shines. I think combat shines. Really, really good. If you really turn up the difficulty and you really have to time everything and parry everything, it can be very, very enjoyable. It can be very, very enjoyable. And just exploring the world, I think, is very pleasant as well. If you look at the min spec for PC, for 720 30 FPS settings, the old consoles are well below those requirements. See, and that's a concern. That's a concern. I'm telling you 900p 30 FPS. Yeah, but according to what Paul is saying, min spec requirements for Hogwarts Legacy on PC to hit 720 30, the old consoles are weaker than that. That should be a concern. I would imagine that the Nintendo Switch version is going to have to run on the cloud. They're not going to be able to run this thing native, I don't think. I don't think they're going to be able to run a native. If just to hit 720 30, you got to have a system, a PC. You need a PC that's stronger than a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. That's worrisome, man. Consoles allow for better optimization. I mean, yeah, Eugene, that's true, but we're talking about 2 different systems. So sure, there's a big difference between optimizing for all the different video cards and chipsets and all the CPUs that are out there, and you shrink that down to 2 systems, but it's still 2 systems at the end of the day. Paul seems informed, but consoles use a system on a chip, so it isn't apples to apples. Right. What are we worried about? Late to the party? So, Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed again on old gen, and I've argued that there's 2 ways to look at this. This is either more cause for concern, or it's like, hey, they really want this game to be good. This really makes me, this makes me super confident, right? This makes me super confident. Your shirt game's on point today. I need that one. Yeah, I've not been doing my timer, so you've not been able to see the full print. You guys can't see this on Tickety Talk. It's a full print all the way down to the bottom Centipede shirt, and you can use my code. Use my code over there at 80s Tees. Code LONO will get you 30% off. So All the stuff over there is official licensed stuff, very high quality print. These shirts are super soft. The print quality, like this is like a soft shirt. Here, let's give you a zoom. See how it's like a soft shirt? It's like it's not ink. It's like the shirt's been dyed. So you're not wearing like, it doesn't feel like you're wearing armor. This is always this argument. Doom runs on the Switch, so Hogwarts can too. I wish it worked like that. Yeah, I wish every game was in the optimization wizard funnel, right? PlayStation review key. February. The digital release of Dark Ultimate Edition. What is this? There is no embargo, so feel free. This version of the game launched this weekend. I don't even know what game this is. I don't think I've ever seen this game before. Dark Ultimate Edition. Oh, yeah, this is an older game. I've been getting these emails from time to time. They're like, yeah, here's a key. There's no embargo. Of course there's not an embargo. The game's been out for a year. Like, thanks so much. Here's a game that's not relevant at all. Do you want to cover it? No. I swear key distribution companies and developers have zero understanding of how YouTube works. Like, they don't get it. I could spend 5 minutes with you and I would fix all your troubles. You'd get way better responses from people. You'd get way more consistent coverage. You get a whole lot more YouTubers interested in covering your game and recording footage. It's real simple. Ready? No one wants to post gameplay after the game has released. Like, it's that simple. Like, hey, do you want to cover our game? Yeah, maybe. When did it come out? A month ago. Man, frick off. Get out of my inbox. What am I going to do with that? It's because those emails come from those work from home apps on your phone. Right. The Witcher 3 is also a 2015 game running on a system that came out in 2017. Hogwarts is a 2023 game, and you're asking it to run well on a 2013 system. It's not the same. Right, that's another thing that people are going to argue. They're going to be like, oh, well, look at The Witcher. And it's like, it's an older game, older assets. You know, it's older stuff. Of course they got it to optimize well. Of course they got it to, they were able to whittle it down well. That's not surprising at all. I keep seeing Sekiro comparisons. I love... Oh, you guys talking Warlaw. My lord, that CPU, Lumphao. Facts, that hardware was dated when we got the PS4. Actually, I have a question about that, Lono. Why is that? I get it for reviews, but what about B-roll that you can use for random topics and updates? Okay, I'm extremely busy, all right? And so much of what I do is dependent upon relevant topics. All right. And in the world of YouTube, if a game comes out on a Tuesday and you give me the code on a Wednesday, that means even if I drop everything and that night I change my schedule around and I immediately record footage of your game, I'm not going to be able to play it as exhaustively. I'm going to have to do an absolute flyby so I can run the video 48 hours after everybody else. So it's like, you're asking me to do something that is difficult and challenging because I have a schedule and things I'm already doing. And not only am I going to do that, I'm probably going to put out subpar content because I'm going to be rushing. And the result will be that I publish a video late. That's like the trifecta of breaking YouTube rules. Like, changing my schedule, subpar content, and it's late. Like, at that point, why even bother? Like, what's the point? Why would I do that? I'd argue that 48 hours after everyone is our specialty. If it's a really, really big game, we're going to play at launch date. Right? So that's the other problem. If it's a really big game, I'm playing at launch date. If you're more of a mid-lane game, if you're more of like a B-level, C-level game, I can't afford to publish anything about your game 48 hours later. I can't. Now, yeah, 48 hours later or 24 hours later, when I'm covering something from the news, a Hogwarts Legacy delay, a Starfield leak, or whatever, that is our specialty. We can do that a day or two later. I can't run B-level gameplay 2 days late. And everyone's like, okay, it's not even a major title. No one cares about that. These guys all put out videos 2 days ago. Yeah, you have to offer something different if it's coming later. That's exactly right. If I'm literally just showing you gameplay, it's like I'm not offering you anything new. There's tons of people already out there with gameplay. You know what I mean? If it's a cult hit that takes some word of mouth to get around, 48 hours may be okay. Yeah. And even then, there's no way to know that because, like, again, I'm gonna get the code, have to literally change my schedule and make time to record, and I'll have to rush. I won't be able to take my time and give you thoughtful, substantive content. I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna here's the first 15 minutes. Here's generally what I thought. Now, I think we had to cancel the first look idea. We had a first look channel, but we had to cancel the idea because it was going to take too much time. Like, I don't have time. I do not have time. Like, I'm not a gameplay focused content creator, so I didn't have time to try to become one. Like, okay, I was going to play games for 20 or 30 minutes, record all the footage. Then I was going to give you guys like a 10-minute, an 8 to 10 minute video with the B-roll running, and I was just going to basically talk about here's the good, here's the bad, and here's the do I recommend it. We were going to try and do that. We could still use that formula at some point in time in the distant future, but it's like little lesser known titles would do so poorly on this channel, I can't afford to do it. It's like, well, yeah, here's another indie title that, 2,000 people were following on Steam, and it'd get 400 views, and I'd be angry that I spent all that time working on content that's not appreciated or enjoyed or consumed. Good content is a significant time commitment, or you're just the next YouTuber. We choose the talk show. Yeah, the talk show quality and the opening monologue of the talk show has gone up in quality because I'm not piddling time away on things that don't matter. Here's a first look at this little indie title, and it gets like 300 views. Who the frick cares about that? I don't have time to be doing that. Like, if I'm going to be doing something that's going to get low view count, I'd rather be something hobbyist like the Lego channel, which the Lego channel should be getting some new content soon. We did like 4 different sets. Yoda and the Hogwarts Legacy, that one there. Yoda and that set really, really hurt us. So if you guys are subbed to the Brick Abbey, make sure you're supporting that channel. It should be getting some new content soon, and we're hoping if we get back to something that's a little bit more like Yoda. I think it was hard for people to tell what I was building a lot of the times, and the mosaic was just so it wasn't that interesting to watch me build. We're gonna be doing some of the Star Wars busts next, and I think those will perform better. Yeah, we saw Rivendell at the Lego store over the weekend. It's like, what, $500 something for that set. I was like, oh my gosh. It's remarkable. It's enormous. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy as a set. In any case, that's a whole sidebar issue. I mean, we didn't really formally announce to you guys why we shuttered the first look channel idea. But I just told Creature, I said the minute I started thinking about not doing that channel, I felt relief. I was like, whew, it was just going to be so much work. It was going to be a lot of work. Lego sets are so expensive, I can't justify the purchase. Oh gosh, they're super expensive. Super expensive. I wish because of Hogwarts Legacy being popular, I wish I could have bought a bunch of the Harry Potter sets and done them, but like, number one, I'm short on time, and number two, I couldn't justify spending that kind of money. The Lego channel's not even monetized. You think the success of Hogwarts, we might see a promising Lord of the Rings game in the future? That's something that people keep asking. They're like, with the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game success, right? Like, everybody was wanting, I think, a really good Harry Potter game. Many people are saying that. Yo, could we get a Lord of the Rings game that's this good? Could we get a Star Wars game that's this good? I think we have a Star Wars game that is this good in Jedi Fallen Order, personally. It's not the same style, but I think it's a good game. I think Jedi Survivor could ratchet things up, right? Here's the challenge with Lord of the Rings. Here's the challenge. You have no central thing to orient the game around. You have no central thing. The only thing you could do, you'd have to do a side story with the Dunedain or something. There's 4 Lord of the Rings games coming. Yeah, there's a bunch of Lord of the Rings games coming. Sure. If you want to do a game in Middle-earth, you'd have to do it about the Dunedain. You'd have to be like one of the Dunedain, and you'd have to have like a central town, or you're like you know all the ones that show up in the book, and they pledge their allegiance to Aragorn. You could have those guys just prequel, like, okay, this is before they get to Aragorn, and they could just be fighting in Middle-earth. And you could be leveling up and getting stronger, more classic RPG open world feel. I think they could do that. I don't think you can do something around the actual canon stories. I can't be running around as a Hobbit or Legolas. I don't think that's a good idea. I really, really don't. Nemesis system is so underrated. I think the Nemesis system is overrated. I think people talk about the Nemesis system as if it's like... people talk about it as if it's this. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't see a lot of other people doing it. I know Wonder Woman's going to do it. I think it's so overrated. People talk about it as if it's like messianic, and I think it's just... I thought it was flat tire and stupid. I thought the Nemesis system was flat tire and stupid. I thought it hurt gameplay. I thought it was absolutely dumb. I would 100% play as a make my own Dunedain. That would be so cool. They patented it so no other devs could do it. Yeah, they do have a patent on it, which would make sense why nobody else is doing it, but you could do an iteration of that. You don't have to call it the Nemesis system. So, I just thought it was overrated. People talked about it like it was life-changing, and I was like, yeah, no, it's annoying. It's super annoying. What's the Nemesis system? Okay, so the Nemesis system, I would kill an orc, and then I'd be doing something else. And he'd be like, all of a sudden he'd show up with like a scar on his face that I gave him, right? He'd be like, you gave me this scar, I'm gonna give you a bigger one. And then I'd have to fight him at the same time as I'm fighting somebody else. I'm like, leave me the frick alone, bro. Now, if I go back to his area... If I go back to his area and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to fight this guy again. His face is all jacked up. Cool, I did that to him. He's burned, or he's got this, whatever. Okay, cool. But it's like, come on, it got annoying. It's like, leave me alone, bro. It's like, it happened like 6 times in a row. S-tier voice acting. I kind of do that with the sea rats in Redwall for my kiddos. The sea rats usually sound like the orcs from Lord of the Rings, you know. The first game abused it. I didn't play the second game enough. I got annoyed with the second game's map structure, but the freaking first game made me want to punch somebody. I'm like, bro, leave me alone. I was constantly getting ganked by orcs. Yeah, it was like it disrupted normal play flow. Or if he beat you, he moved up in the ranks and his own crew leveled up. They remembered what happened and how they died. Okay. Here's what I'll say. We are way off topic, and that's okay. There's little to say about Hogwarts anymore. Listen, on paper, I think it's brilliant. In execution, it was a headache. It's like, okay, you guys really need to polish this up. This is not what I was hoping to experience. All right. So on paper, totally fine. That's a cool, organic, emergent gameplay system. Your experience and my experience are completely different. Who did you kill? How did you kill them? When did you kill them? That's going to create this spider web of interrelated decision making, to where your gameplay, your campaign, and mine is completely different. It's organic. Quiet, shy. I just know that's pretty good. So, yeah. On paper, I'll give it to you. Okay, cool. You got a cool idea. You've really got to iterate more on this, because the first game, I just got angry. I think I stopped playing because of it. I got so far into the game that I was like, bro, stop. Enough is enough. There we go. I was like, are we not gonna hit this today? We are struggling. We're having the opposite experience you're supposed to have as a YouTuber. January was crazy, February was crazy, and now March, I'm like, hello? What's going on, YouTube? Yo, Chapter 8 with the 5 gifted members. It goes to Jaleel, it goes to Legions, it goes to Devin Blevins, it goes to Maze, Rage, and Raymond. Who wants to keep jumping on this? Let's get to 25. Let's show YouTube we can have a big day even when they're messing around with stuff. They keep tinkering, and it's really frustrating. Our Series S stream is one of the best streams I've ever had on the platform, and whatever they did that day, they turned it off right away. I like the way they structure Ghost Recon Wildlands. You had to systematically break down the cartel. March is pretty dead. April will be bananas. Yeah. But January and February were dead. There was nothing happening. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. February was carried by Hogwarts. I think January was the anomaly. Nothing was happening in January. January surprised the frick out of me. You're supposed to die in January. February got carried by Hogwarts. It's always unfair, right? It'd be like comparing the month where Elden Ring launched to the month right after. Like, you're not going to be able to pull the same things that we pulled like we did with Hogwarts. I know this is off topic, but I do value your opinion and want to know what you think of this JRPG outrage that's happened over the past few weeks. I almost did a show about this because I think I could probably have a really intelligent and nuanced discussion about this, because I hear where Yoshi P is coming from, and I want to be sensitive to Japanese developers and Japanese persons that are like, we don't like the term JRPG. But I want to softly push back and say, yeah, but it's a way for us to tell the difference between very clear trends and systems, combat types, story types, and art styles. Like, if someone uses JRPG to be like, yeah, I don't like all those JRPGs. Okay. But most of us use it to distinguish the significant and notable differences between Western RPGs and JRPGs. They're very different. So them seeing it as discriminatory, I was like, you're kind of projecting that onto the term. I don't think that's why people commonly use it. The average YouTuber, the average blogger, I mean, how many people have devoted their channels and their content creator identity around the fact that they love JRPGs? They don't mean anything nasty by it at all. They're like, I love these types of games. There are people who will tell you that they think JRPGs are better than traditional RPGs or Western RPGs. He wasn't even outraged. He talked about how it was perceived in the past. Other people are making it an outrage. Yeah, I mean, he obviously brought it to the forefront and said that it's been viewed in the past as like a discriminatory term. And I'm like, hey, nobody's doing that now. Okay, I got to answer some questions. We're so far off topic. Why are we worried about Hogwarts Legacy, says Candy Apple. And then over here, somebody says, Hogwarts delayed. Yes. Hogwarts Legacy delayed again. They delayed their old gen. It's no longer launching on April the 4th. It is now launching on May the 5th. So if you're trying to play Hogwarts Legacy PS4 or Hogwarts Legacy Xbox One, you're going to have to wait an additional month. So I'm saying, should we be worried? Is this cause for concern? One of the things I've been saying this morning is there's multiple ways to look at this. Number one, you could look at it and say, this is them concerned with optimization and quality. It can give you confidence. You could look at this and say this is worrisome. You could say they must be having trouble. They must be running into some issues. The weakest version of the PC minimum requirements that you can get like a 720/30 experience on is stronger than the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So that's what we've been talking about. Now, I said somebody could make the argument that the Hogwarts Legacy Nintendo Switch release date gives them confidence in the title, right? Because if you were going to try to get one over on everybody and you were going to release it on old gen just to maximize your sales, and then that's the end of the matter. You know what I just realized? I don't know if this comes into the story or not. What Ranrock uses non-wand magic right there. Is that addressed in the story? He does that without a wand. Isn't that's something that Natty talks about? She talks about how... Yeah, she talks about how they use magic without wands. Oh, they can't use wands. That's right. That's in the lore that they can't use wands. So he doesn't even have a wand initially. That big red beam, I wasn't sure if he was using a wand or not. You haven't reached that part? Okay. The goblins are forbidden from using wands. That's right. That's right. Okay, so that's why. So I wonder if that's another way for them to like have us learn new magic in the future or something. I have many friends who say they're boycotting because of this, but I know one-on-one they are getting it. Oh, plenty of people. There's plenty of people who said they weren't going to get it and got it anyway. Like, look at the commercial success of this game. There is absolutely no way everybody that said they were going to boycott it actually boycotted it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Could we get 17 more likes on this video, guys? Let's set our sights on 300 likes. We can have a great ratio and a great stream. We're hoping that YouTube can rectify. There's no Hogwarts Legacy category, so we're thinking that might be affecting our coverage. It might be affecting videos about this. So we're going to continue, obviously, monitoring that. They replied to somebody on Twitter about it. So we'll see if they don't get that rectified. We would then go in the back end and fix these videos. Even our past broadcasts are no longer in that category. Non-wand is uncommon, but aren't necessary. I remember a student who said a whole school taught non-wand magic. That's what I'm talking about, Ashen. She's talking about the school in... she's talking about the school in Uganda, the Wagadu school. It's carved into the mountain, and they don't use wands. Yeah. We're literally getting a massive suggest off of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer. Unbelievable. It's not spelled Wagadu, but that's how you pronounce it phonetically. Imagine if one is gifted in a powerful spellcaster that he could cast a Avada Kedavra without the use of a wand and with ease. That would be awesome to see. A lot of people are buying it instead. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that support the game and don't care about that stuff. Wands are just a way to channel magic. Yeah. So that, I mean, that could be a whole thing with, like an expansion or DLC. They could take us to that school. Because the one, her mom is a teacher, so she could end up having to go back. Have you covered the Elden Ring DLC announcement? I did cover that. Yep. We covered that last week. And we talked about... I listed all the things I would like to get from that DLC. I'm probably not going to get any of the things I asked for. Avada Kedavra, incantation, less and wandless would be terrifying. I'm in a culture where everyone is saying to boycott the game, but after completing it, I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of... In general, I think the vast majority of people that jumped on that issue and continue to jump on that issue, I think a lot of them are liars. I think a lot of them are bad actors. There's tons of blatant falsehood claimed about the game, about the author, about the stories, about things in the stories. Thank you for the 10 roses, Polarized Skies. I appreciate that. As I've done my own inquiry into that situation and looked at the claims people have made, and I even started reading the books because I'm seeing, are they too scary for my kiddos? People are just liars. They have flat out lied about the books, about the game. In this day and age, you've really got to be careful. You got to do your own investigations. You got to do your own inquiry because there's so much it's just propaganda. Like we are in the age of just easily made propaganda. People just flat out lie. They do. It's remarkable. It's remarkable, especially when you're trying to wax virtuous while being a liar. It's just remarkable. I'm being holy and righteous. Yeah, you're a liar. Off topic, but did you see the Horizon DLC out soonish? I've not seen anything on a... Wait. We already have a release date. What do you mean? That's not... Yeah, April 19th. That's officially announced. That's not like a leak or anything. Burning Shores DLC will be released on the PlayStation 5 April 19th. That's next month. What did everyone ever say about the books? There's all kinds of lies they spread about the books. There's all kind of things they make claims about the house elves and the goblins. They just flat out lie about all of it. It's just total false narratives. You can't even count on one hand. You need both your hands to add up all the false narratives about what's in the books and this and that and the other. I don't even want to get into it because it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like I said it the other day, the most remarkable thing to me is the first time you meet a goblin in Harry Potter, they don't describe what he looks like. But everything you'll hear from everybody else is all kind of nastiness about that. And you'll hear the same thing about the house elves. It's just all made up. They're total lies and fabrications. It's just not true. I already read your reply. You said I'm in a culture where everybody's saying to boycott the game, and after you complete it, I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. People did the same thing with Hogwarts Legacy reviews. The day the reviews started dropping, people were just out on main lying. They were like, yeah, there's only 3 enemy types and the game barely runs, but it's getting good reviews. It's like, no. None of that's true. If you see that, you may have been looking for that. That's right. That's right. I do wish we could free Deke and help the goblins get rights. Yeah, see, what's always interesting to me about stuff like that is people will try to claim that if a story contains that, that's somehow wrong. I think it's totally fine to have stories that contain things like that. Like, are they like high-fiving about it? You know what I mean? Or like, yeah, it's awesome that goblins can't use wands. One of the most touching stories in the game is about the kindness between a witch and a goblin. And you will never get to experience that if you believe all the liars. You won't even get to experience that. It's one of the best stories in the game. It's one of the best moments. It's poignant. It's well written. The voice acting is phenomenal. It's like... what? You're never going to get that if you believe all of the bad actors out there. The Hogwarts Legacy story is quite good. It's quite good. One VTuber pushed back, calling the people who mess with them Twitter freaks, and man, it ruffled a lot of feathers. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. I refuse to buy anything Harry Potter licensed. That's fine. That you're free to feel that in your convictions. But the beautiful thing about that is, if you try to convince me to do it also, I'm going to ask why. And if you're like most of the people I saw on Twitter, they were lying. I saw a guy flat out make claims, and when he was pressed on it, he said use Google. And it was like, what? Like, he just bought into a false narrative, was propagating the false narrative, and then when pressed on proving it and providing evidence, oh yeah, use Google. It's like, you know what burden of proof is? Maybe you should use Google and look that up. The burden of proof is on you. If you're going to make these claims, if you're going to say, well, this is why you shouldn't, this is why I'm not, okay, or what you say, is it true? A $5 tip from TJ Rage. Can't help but look back at what happened to T-Lu 2 and compare the crowds between that and Hogwarts. Totally different now. Yeah, but in similar fashion, TJ Rage. People run with anger and hate, and that's what they typically run with, right? Facts of the matter is most people aren't lying. You don't have a supporter. you can have your own personal convictions that lead you to not support a certain thing. That's totally fine. If you want to compel me to not support that thing, you need to bring more than a bunch of made-up lies, which is what I saw on Twitter. I saw things that were totally made up. Flip or a hiccup? All right. Can we try and hit this really, really quickly? We got some member stuff that I want to do with you guys this week. Let's try and hit this really, really fast. We have not missed the member goal since November. I thought it'd be cool if we went all like a 12-month whole year round of doing it really quickly. Let's take a bunch of people hostage with us. If you guys have been enjoying this stream, man, smash the like button. We only need 5 more likes for 300 likes. Try and do it, even if it's one at a time. Even if you guys only gift one at a time, that would be phenomenal. Yeah, the Tilu 2 thing had something to do. It was way, way more about the story. All right, there's one. We got eight total for the day. Transmissions from a Spaceboat, gifts of membership to Cujo. Thank you so much for doing that, Transmissions. Reforge Dark Roast was good this morning. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Glad that you liked it. If you don't value people's lives more than merch, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, like I said, you've been propagandized. That's propagandistic speech. That's not educated, facts-based speech. I don't deal in propaganda. You clearly do. If you don't value people's lives, okay. Just wear a bumper sticker that says I've been propagandized and you can ignore what I say. Like, just do it. Like, I don't engage in that kind of speak. It's hyperbolic. It's not facts-based. Best gaming show on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, I saw that Quiet Shy too. Right? People got upset at like referring to your character as they, them. They refer to your character as they, them because it saves on recording time. Right? They didn't go back. They didn't go back and want to re-record every single line. He's our new Slytherin student. Okay, can you say that again? Like, there's so many audio lines from the people that see you walking around, from the students that you interact with, from the professors that you interact with. You know what I mean? So. What's wrong with Hogwarts Legacy? Oh, I got some people coming in late. Okay, so here's the deal with Hogwarts Legacy. So Hogwarts Legacy on the old gen consoles has been delayed. It has been delayed to April the 5th. May the 5th. It was April the 4th. It has now been delayed to May the 5th. And that extra month is so they can get things working well, running well. And that's what they're doing. So we wanted to make sure everybody knew. We wanted to run the story and say, hey, heads up. I ran through a couple of theories in my show open where I talked about if you're purely optimist about this is good news. It means that they're doing the best that they can. A negative view of this would be like they might be having trouble. This is kind of worrying. I actually used the Nintendo Switch release date, which is still July 25th. That is true. They are holding that one. The fact that one's releasing July 25th and they're seemingly having that separation would tell me that the release date on old gen is not that worrying yet. Because if they knew it was going to be super bad on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, they wouldn't necessarily have that staggered Nintendo Switch release date. There we go. Brandon, I love seeing this. Brendan Donovan has a brand new badge, a white badge, and this guy just dropped a 10 gifted member bomb on chat, taking us to 18. We have not missed this member goal since November, and we are very close to it right now. Noctis, Ion, Table Pop, Nog, JC, Brian Retro, Apollyon of Worlds, Jimmy Ludwig, Ronaldo Madrid, and Shadow Ninja. You guys all got gifted memberships. If you just got a gifted membership and you want to pay it forward, you can gift one. You don't have to gift a big batch. You can gift one and pay it forward to somebody else. Cyberpunk assigned gender to voice pitch. People got mad, but they don't realize that they need to do that way because she recorded into the audio. They can't do twice as much audio. Oh, for sure. For sure. We've already seen certain titles move away from old gen. I think this will be the last year that old gen is supported in any significant ways. I think this will be the last year. I think you're going to see a movement away from old gen big time. Yeah. Because Spider-Man 2 is coming this year, and it's PS5 only. So PlayStation's already doing it. They said that God of War Ragnarok would be the last mainline first-party title to be cross-generationally supported. So this will be the last year that you see this happen to a significant degree. So next year, there might still be some stragglers. There might still be some smaller titles, indie games, games built in old engines, games built in older systems that could do it. Hufflepuff Squid gifting a member, taking us to 19. Let's keep it going, guys. We only need 6 more members to hit the goal at 25. 2024 cross-gen games from first-party studios will be done. I mean, I don't even think that was something that we needed to predict. Like, PlayStation just flat out came out and said it, didn't they, Wheezy? Didn't they say that Spider-Man 2 would be, that's the first game that's going to just completely, that's PS5. They said Ragnarok will be the last first-party cross-gen title. We didn't even need to really predict that, right? Didn't they come out and just flat out say it? Jazztification rounds us off to 20. That means a nice 5-bomb. All we need is a 5-bomb to hit 25. I got pushback when I said it. Victor's going to land the plane, my man, Victor. Victor, getting some compliments from Wheezy last night in the Discord, saying he looks like he's in his 20s. Victor gifting 5 to Chris, Vig, Misery, Alex Jordan, and King Sonic, the king of time and speed. What a username. That's remarkable. Yeah, I don't know why you got pushback on that either, Wheezy. I thought it was pretty obvious. It was like, yeah, we're getting left behind, you know? Chapter 8 says, I see people insist that the PS3 was supported for like 5 years after the PS4 came out, but was the jump between gens less than this one? I don't know the tech aspects. Victor's a good-looking dude. I won't stunt. Yeah, I would second that. I would second that. Yeah, I don't know how long they supported, and you also have to consider this is the 3rd year, right? Oh, you said 5 years. 5 years is such a long freaking time, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long time. Membership, like subs on Twitch? Yes. We have around 2,500 paying members on YouTube. They're trying to hit a big goal this week. By the end of this week, they're hoping to hit 3,000, because then I'll do a Just Dance stream. If they get to 3,500, I have to do a Just Dance stream in an outfit. So they got a ways to go. We started today, I believe, at like 2,550. But if you get too far in the month, it'll be really, really hard to do. So you guys have got to act quick. You got to act quick this week, or you're going to make it really, really hard on yourself. Let's see here. Where are we right now? Let me give you an active member count. 2,515. Yeah, so we slipped a teeny bit already. We slipped a teeny bit. Madam says, how much for a no outfit on that dance stream? Oh, I'm not the one that put that out there. They asked for it. What we say, 4,000 and I shave the beard? 107 currently active PS4 players, far from dead. It's a money-making machine. Oh, 107 million. Yeah. I was like, 107 people? 107 million active PlayStation 4 players. Let's just say 100 million. Let's just round it down. 100 million. That's a ton of people. That's a lot of potential people buying Hogwarts Legacy. That's why we did this show. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hopefully you're paying attention. If I'm looking, right? 107 million broke people. I'm kidding. Hey, that's not funny, because the PlayStation 5 is really hard to get. Well, it was. They're in stores now, very briefly. There were some in Target the other day. I snapped a picture because I saw a guy carrying one. I was like, oh, a PlayStation 5 in the wild. It was like seeing Bigfoot. I was like, oh my gosh, right? How do I cancel my membership? I'm sure for you that's free. Oh, you mean the outfit, not clothes. Oh my gosh, Wheezy. Round that up to 110 million for those who don't use online accounts. I was just rounding it down to 100 million to make it easier to say, just like a quick references. There's around 100 million active PlayStation 4 users. You know, that's I have a question. So what you're telling me is they pushed back the release date for Hogwarts Legacy till May 5th. Is it worth to buy the game still? Thomas, I am recommending anybody buying Hogwarts Legacy PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, I would wait. You've waited this long. You know it's a good game. You know whether or not you would enjoy it. The replay value, the RPG, the open world, the combat. You know whether or not the game itself has what you're looking for. The question at that point in May is whether or not Hogwarts Legacy performance is worthy of your purchase. Does that make sense? Like, nobody at this point in time is questioning that. Of like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth getting Hogwarts Legacy. The reviews are in. The Steam reviews are in. Metacritic reviews are in. You know how good or bad the game is across a broad spectrum of reviews. So the question you should be asking is it gonna be worthy of my purchase on the old systems? Same thing with the Nintendo Switch. Like, I can't tell you how it's going to run. I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I can dust off and boot up, download and install the game, and I can give you some semblance of that game's performance on old gen, but the PlayStation 4 Pro has a little bit of an advantage. It's a little bit stronger console. I can get it on the Nintendo Switch and do the same thing. I can show you performance when it comes out. I can try and help you make an educated decision. But I would say you don't even need to wait on me. Just let Digital Foundry or any of those dedicated channels, just let them do it. Let them show you. Lono's big head dancing like a Magic Mike stripper. Why you always gotta call me out on my head size? Like, why is that? Why we always gotta do that? Oh my gosh, Wheezy, did you see it went viral on the Tickety Talk. It went viral on the Tickety Talk. It's a dad teasing his son about these giant boots that he's got on, these work boots. Have you seen that video? That's what it makes me think of when you're giving me grief about my head size. You know what I mean? YouTube been having some issues. Didn't realize I was several minutes behind. Yeah, there's been some blips and some oddities today. Yeah. You've not seen it? Yeah. Every time you tease me about how big my head is, I think of that video. It's funny. I think the guy knew that his dad was going to roast him because he set the camera up. And he came in the door. He knew. He's like, my dad's going to roast me up for these shoes. They are big. He's like a Shaq-sized person. You know what I mean? His feet are big. You could just own a new gen console and not worry about these issues. Well, it's not that simple, Mason Brown. Demand for the PlayStation 5 has been incredibly high, but a lot of people haven't been able to get them. Same with the Xbox Series X. If you want to get a Series X or a PlayStation 5, you've really got to be dialed in and paying attention. A lot of people haven't been able to get them. Or times are tough, man. Yo, Easy HT Tech, thanks for jumping back in as a VIP. Times are tough. You know, not everybody can drop $500 right now on a gaming system. $500 to them is groceries for a couple of months. Well, depending on where they live and how big their family is. You know, that could be groceries for a couple of months if they budget well and they're frugal. That $500 is a lot of money. Especially in today's situations that some people are finding themselves in. It's tough. Now, things will have their upswing, 2 years from now, probably? But in the meantime, that's a big ask. Yeah, Canadian, it's like $800. I think they're going to push it back so much, they're going to say, heck with it. Why not let's play it on the PS4? Well, that's the only lingering concern that I have, is that if they push this game's release date all the way back to if they have release date parity with a Nintendo Switch, then it's time to get concerned. Right? That I think is a completely valid at that point in time, be like, I don't know, man. This might be a total cash grab, right? A total cash grab. Because at that point in time, they'd make a ton of money, and then what are you going to do? Is it just me, or do the Depulso rooms make me feel really dumb? In what way? Some of the Hogwarts Legacy Merlin trials, I'm like, huh? My wife was doing one last night, and there was 2 Merlin trials so close together. She took there's like these balls on the ground. She took them to the wrong Merlin trial. I was like, why'd they have those so close together? She was obviously like annoyed. She's like, come on. Did you see Linus Tech Tips video on the PSVR 2? Is he the one that ran with the video basically saying that this is... I forget the phrase he used. It looked like a very positive video. It looked like he was very impressed with the PSVR 2. The second Depulso room is actually pretty tricky. What do you do in the Depulso rooms? I don't even remember. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out on May 5th and then like, oh, Switch is delayed. I could see that. I actually could see that. And see, that would be okay, Rob. I would be totally okay. Like, if it comes out on the Xbox One and it comes out on the PS4, and if it runs well enough that people are like, yeah, this is fine, then I think people would be okay with a Switch delay. They'd be like, okay, take your time. Yeah, that was him. Okay. Expensive hobbies like gaming aren't for everyone. I don't think we should be supporting decade-old hardware for the sake of people being broke. Then a money-based hobby isn't for you. I've not said that. I didn't at all say that. I didn't say that. I was pushing back on somebody saying, just get a new gen console and this isn't a problem. And I said, there's so many layers to why somebody might not have a new gen console and have to play Hogwarts Legacy on an old system. Within the context of the discussion, I'm saying, listen, there's levels to this, Doc. There's layers to this, is typically what I say. There's layers to the situation. That's a cool shirt. Thank you. It's from 80s Tees. You can support me over there. Use code LONO at 80stees.com. Like, somebody might not have a new gen console because they couldn't get one, or they can't afford it, or they're waiting, or they're saving. Like, there's a spectrum, right? And many of those people are going to be like, Hogwarts Legacy's on old gen, and I have a right to expect it to run reasonably well. Like, obviously, you don't expect it to run and look like a quasi new gen console. That would be ridiculous. Bear says, be careful, that much empathy is going to get you into trouble. Solemn says, I don't have any, I'm an a-hole, but also be careful being too empathetic on this particular matter. We'll be stuck supporting old gen for forever. I don't think I would, and anybody that understands sort of like the console markets would ever argue so strongly on empathy that like, oh yeah, we should be supporting the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One beyond this year, I think is unreasonable. I think even the people that I have empathy for, I'm like, hey man, times are tough. I'm sorry that you can't afford it right now, or I'm sorry you can't find one right now. You know, maybe they just aren't as dialed in the Discords and the Twitter feeds that can tell them when to order them. Like, I feel for them, but I even think at some point they agree. They're like, well, yeah, because if they want a PlayStation 5, they don't want to buy it and have it shackled to the PlayStation 4. That's not what anybody wants. I don't think even they would argue for that. I think they would argue and say, sure, yeah, that this thing needs a chance. It needs a chance to flourish. You know, if you're going to expect me to buy a PlayStation 5, you know, I need good reason to buy it. Well, you can't accidentally argue for the PlayStation 5 to basically be held back because you can't afford it. Well, then when you buy it, you're going to be pretty miffed if the thing's been held back and has no good games for it, which that's not happening, right? I don't think that's happening with any of the consoles, you know, to be fair. I think they're all doing well enough in this stage of the life cycle, given that this stage of the life cycle is also linked to situations with, you know, the sickie and having to work from home and, you know, everything else that happened. You know, I think that in general we're in a rare situation. You know what I mean? Let me gift you guys the 5 members that I owe you before the little thing at the top will disappear, and I love doing it in the chat and not having to go open up the stream, it makes it less likely that we drop frames. If you guys have never been here before, make sure and hit subscribe and the like button. That increases the likelihood of you getting gifted members when we do them. We do member streams all throughout the week, and this Friday and Saturday will be a double-header horror weekend. That will be your opportunity to hang out with my wife and I on Friday and Saturday night playing through a scary game. We were going to do it this past weekend, but Kentucky got rocked by windstorms and close to 300,000 people didn't have power. So we had to bump that to this week. So there we go. That goes to Awesemo23, Merrick Novak, Ryan, Hiram Simmons, and Addicted to Loot. You guys all got a gifted membership from me. Thank you to everybody who helped us hit that goal today. Brendan Donovan kind of carrying that 25 on his back with 10. So I appreciate Brand's new members jumping in, getting committed, and supporting the stream in big, big ways. And make sure as members you get into our Discord so you don't miss out on all of the extra content. We appreciate that so much. It's cool seeing the Discord really come together. We've got some community leaders that have been kind of leading the charge to help that place really come together in a good way. So make sure you're getting plugged in there. Today we were running the story about the Hogwarts Legacy delay and just kind of letting people know I would cancel your pre-orders. I would sit back and wait. You'll only have to wait a day or two. A lot of the performance review websites, yes, I have a Discord. It's under the same name that you're watching right now, Reforge TV. You can go to discord.gg/Reforge TV. Now, it's a members-only Discord, so you're not going to be able to do much in there if you're not a paying member on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel link is on my profile, so if you're watching on the Tickety Talk, you can always support me there and watch there. That is super helpful. The best way to support me is to watch on YouTube and be a paying member. You guys will notice we've been streaming for over 2 hours. There hasn't been a single ad. I don't run ads. Now, if you watch the past broadcasts, you'll see ads. But we live off of the memberships. You guys keep this dream alive, and you keep this channel going with paying memberships. So we appreciate everybody who contributes to that. So if you're watching on the Tickety Talk, you can head over there. Best way to support me is to be a chair. Yeah. Solemn says, again, I agree, and again, I'm an a-hole, and I have a personal feeling on that particular matter. And only because I see the trend being people just defending people not being able to afford it as a reason for tech to not push forward ever because they're being too empathetic. I've not seen very many people argue for that. I haven't. But again, I'm not out there consuming that much content. So I don't know how many people are arguing for that. I think in this particular discussion, it's different because Hogwarts Legacy was in development long enough that, hey, we're going to launch on both platforms. We're going to launch in both places. And because of that, people on those old platforms have a right to buy it and expect decent performance. That would be my pushback in saying, like, listen, I think this is totally fine for them to support it, long term. I think that's why if you're going to wait that long, if you have to wait until May 5th, the new Hogwarts Legacy PlayStation 4 release date is May 5th. If you have to wait that long, wait a couple more days, Can't afford doesn't hold much weight in a luxury hobby market. I think it holds weight in a luxury hobby market when the economy and the market is showing that people are struggling to maintain their luxury hobby markets. So yeah, I do. I don't think you can divorce it. You can't have a luxury hobby that is being affected by people's ability to maintain it, right? Look at any of the luxury things, They're going to struggle right now. All right, I have a video about CSGO 2. I'm going to send you guys to it. The live environment's been kind of wonky today. If you're one of the new members, there will be a member stream after this CSGO 2 video, okay? I'm going to redirect you there. If redirects don't work, click the link in chat. When that CSGO 2 video is done, we're all going to hang out as members and talk. So click the link in chat or ride the redirect. Everybody can watch this CSGO video. I'm going to send you to it now. Thanks for supporting this stream, talking about Hogwarts Legacy, and we'll see you guys in the premiere about CSGO that's about to happen. If you're on Tickety Talk, use my profile link to come to YouTube. It'll be the pinned video. It'll be premiering right now, and I'm going to send people to it. Click the link in chat or ride the redirect, and then we're all going to hang out as members. It's a great reason to be a member. I'll see you guys over there in the CSGO 2 video.